Ever since 2017, Murder Mystery 2 has had seasonal events with leaderboards where players can compete to get as many coins as possible in a certain amount of time for very special and rare weapons. But have you ever wondered how to actually get onto one of these leaderboards? My name is PlayTested, and I have teamed up with my friend Mally, who has placed number 3 in 2 separate leaderboards to create the ultimate guide for you to be able to get your very own trophy. This video will be split into various sections, with some being meant for absolute beginners and for some being for veterans of the game. If you need to skip to a part, please use the time cards listed in the video. And with that being said, let's get started. Firstly, let's get some misconceptions out of the way. One main thing that people don't realize is that buying candies or snow tokens will not increase your score towards the leaderboard. The only thing that will increase your score is actually putting in the work and collecting coins that are on the ground. You won't believe how many people I've seen do this, so just don't do that. Another misconception is that some people believe that it is impossible to get onto the leaderboard without using covers or alt accounts. Now, if you don't know what these are, I will explain them later in the video. But for now, just know that you can easily get onto the leaderboard by yourself. You can even get on the leaderboard while grinding with 2 to 3 friends, even though you will be moving through rounds a little bit slower. Before we get into the gameplay tips, we'll first need to be aware of how much time these leaderboards can actually take. If we take a look at 100th place during the 2023 Christmas leaderboard, we can see that they earned around 152,000 snow tokens. So how many candies or tokens would you need to get a day to guarantee your spot on the leaderboard? Luckily, we can do some simple math to find this out. The 2023 Christmas leaderboard was 10 days long, excluding the pause days. With some simple division, we can see that you would need to collect at the very least 15,200 snow tokens or candies a day. So how long would that even take? Well, for inexperienced grinders, it would take them around 16 to 20 hours. But don't worry, because using the tips in this video, we can get this amount within roughly 11 to 13 hours. One thing that really deters people during the leaderboard is staying motivated. My main tip to avoid demotivation is to distract yourself while you grind. And this can be achieved by listening to podcasts, music, watching YouTube, or just calling with your friends. Alright, well, you made it to the point of the video where we're actually going to give some gameplay tips now. These are tips that will put you way ahead of grinders that are not experienced. Firstly, let's learn how to find a small server. Finding a small server is important because you want to avoid other people that could steal your candies or snow tokens. Also, it'll ensure that you collect 50 coins as fast as possible, which is ideal for leaderboards. Also, thanks to a new MM2 update, during leaderboards, you will always be able to get 50 coins instead of 40 even if you don't have elite. So let's show you how to find a small server. First, go to the MM2 page, then click on the server list, and once you scroll past all the private servers, you want to take a look at the number of players header. Now, my recording bugs so you can't see the drop down, but click on the button that says descending and change it to ascending. Now you are seeing all the small servers. But wait, because this step is very important. You might assume that you should join the servers that have 1 player in them, but this is bad for a few reasons. The first reason is that that 1 player is probably in a private server. The second, and the main reason that it is bad, is because 1 player servers fill up instantly because Roblox prioritizes putting players in 1 player servers. So instead, click on the load more option a few more times and scroll a bit down until you find a 2 player server that has people with noob-like avatars. And now you're on a small server. Now, to avoid your server from filling, you want to make sure that your server has 3 to 4 people in it. It should be mentioned that eventually your server may start to fill up, and if that happens, it's best to find another server. Now, here's a tip regarding servers that most leaderboard tip videos won't tell you. If you take a look at the other MM2 game modes, you'll see the assassin mode. It's very luck-based to get into a small assassin server, but if you do find one and you keep 3 to 4 people in it, you will be spending less time waiting for the in-game countdown, saving you around 4 seconds every round. So if you want to risk it, assassin servers are way faster, but regular public servers are much more reliable. Now that you have a small server and your ults ready, what do you do now? It's a common misconception that all MM2 maps spawn coins at the same rate, but that's not true. So I will be sharing what maps you should pick and what maps you should avoid. In this list, I will also be counting the Halloween and Christmas exclusive maps. First, let me give the top 5 maps from best to worst. First is Hospital 3, then Office 3 or Mansion 2, House 2, and finally Workplace. I put Office 3 and Mansion 2 together since they have similar spawn rates, so it's really up to personal preference which one you want to pick. If you get any of these maps, pick them. Now obviously you won't get these maps all the time, so I will list some maps that are not the best, but they're still good. Biolab, Ice Castle, Log Cabin, and Farmhouse. The maps listed are decent for grinding, but have certain spots where more coins spawn in, such as most of the coins spawning on the outside section of Millbase. Any other map that isn't listed, I would completely avoid. Another thing to take into consideration are bonus rounds. Assuming that bonus rounds return, avoid them at all costs. For example, if you see a freeze tag round on the hospital map in the voting area, do not pick it, even though Hospital might be the best map. The reason for this is that you have to reset all your characters in the round, which takes a lot of unnecessary time. So now that you know which maps to choose, how long should each round take you? Well, there's a lot of variance because there's a lot of factors here. Some rounds you will be on better maps, and other rounds you will just get unfavorable coin spawns. But all in all, you want to make sure that you're finishing rounds in around a minute. If you're taking more time than a minute, you may have just gotten bad coin spawns or just a bad map, but make sure it's not becoming a consistent pattern. However, there is one thing that can help you grind faster, but only if you're lucky enough. Once you spawn into the match, you will either get the Innocent role, Sheriff role, or Murderer role. If you get the Murderer role, you're in luck. Equip the Haste perk and hold out your knife for the entire round. This should take off around 10 seconds to your total round time, which can be very useful. So for the majority of the day, you should be just fine being able to keep your server. However, there is a little bit of an issue, especially if you don't have a full server with 11 alt accounts. Peak hour, a term that all leaderboard players hate. So what exactly is peak hour? Peak hour is the time of day where MM2's player count rises, making it nearly impossible to find a small server or to keep a small server. There are 3 types of peak hour named by yours truly: American peak hour, Russian peak hour, and update day peak hour. American peak hour usually runs from 11 AM to 2 PM EST. Russian peak hour runs from 2 AM to 6 AM EST, and update day peak hour lasts for the first couple of hours after the update drops. Now obviously these times can vary, and sometimes peak hour can last a lot longer or shorter, but you can always tell when peak hour ends when you see the player count start to drop significantly. So is there a way to combat peak hour? Well, kinda. There's a few things that you can do here, and a little bit of it is luck based. Most players here decide to get some well-deserved rest during peak hour, but I'm going to show you a way where you can surpass even the most experienced grinders. Remember how I said during regular hours having 3 to 4 people in your server prevents people from joining for a while? Well, if you see the player count start rising, add 2 to 3 more accounts into your server. Sometimes, Roblox won't put players in your server during peak hour if you have 6 to 7 players already in your server. Now, like I said, this won't always work, and if that's the case for you, I would recommend grinding in a public server. Sure, you may be gaining candies or snow tokens a lot slower, but it still beats not doing anything at all. Alright, now it's time to talk about everyone's favorite thing, raiders. So what is a raider? A raider is someone who will join your server and attempt to slow you down. Now, most likely you won't come into contact with raiders unless you're within the top half of the leaderboard, but if you do, your best option is to just not interact with them. If you don't interact with them, they'll probably just get bored and leave. 99% of the time, if a raider says, "I'm not leaving," or "if you give me a godly, I'll leave," they'll usually get bored in around 10 to 30 minutes and just straight up leave regardless. And if they don't, just find a new server. Finally, let's talk about covers. A cover is someone that goes onto your account and grinds for you if you're busy. While some leaderboard players use one, I really do not recommend this because they are expensive and you put your account at risk. Like I stated before, it's completely possible to get onto the leaderboard without a cover, so don't be discouraged if you see someone on the board seemingly never going to sleep. And those are the tips for getting on the MM2 leaderboard. If you have a question about anything that I talked about in this video, please feel free to leave a comment and I will try my best to respond. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like these. I hope to see you all on the leaderboard. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and God bless.